So I want to welcome you all to the CMX Connect Delta event for today, which is Beyond the Screen, Connecting Communities in Real World. So as players in the startup ecosystem in Delta State, a lot is going on about communities and then the various activities that the communities are actually performing. But then again, are the activities synergizing to bring about the desired result of that particular initiative? That is the focus of our discussion for today. It's going to be a roundtable discussion where we'll have to um, get our individual perspective and then get our insight as to a few things. So first, we're starting with what is the current status of community building in Delta State? Then we'll then go to what is missing within the context of community building in Delta State, and then we'll talk about what next, and then we can then wrap up the session for today. So the idea is there are within Delta State, for instance, there are 25 local governments, as it were. However, the concentration of community effort seems to be within Asaba, Wari, you know, we're not hearing much things coming from Gedi Axis or Sapele Axis or the various other regions within the the state. I know a lot of things are happening in Pori too. So I'd like to get your perspective. What is the current status of community development in the state? Esther, would you like to go first?
Okay, in the state in general, I think it's improving compared to other years, like before now. At least from last year, there were a lot of visibilities for communities in Delta State, especially Asaba and Wari. I don't know about other local governments, but for Asaba and Wari, at least there have been lots of activities. Though Wari, I think Wari has been into the game since before now. But I think for Asaba, last year was like how would I that last year we gained visibility and the communities grew. So I think it's growing rapidly.
All
So
right.
I don't know other local governments. Thank you.
What do you think accounts for that visibility in terms of? Um, I agree with you that a lot has changed compared to a few years back in terms of community visibility, community growth, but counts for it. Is it because we now have more communities or because we now have more people who are getting interested in community? And then beyond, let's handle that first, please. What do you think accounts for the visibility?
Okay, I think it's people and people and the communities. Like for Asaba especially, because I'll talk more on Asaba because Asaba is where I am. So I think I know more for Asaba other than other local government. So for Asaba, I'll say is the people because there are some communities that were existing before they were existing and they like for Four Loop Asaba. I don't know if you've heard of Four Loop.
Yeah, I
Did
know
you hear of
follow.
Four Loop? Yes, there was Four Loop. Yes, there was Four Loop Asaba, but I think probably people were not turning up or something, so it's folded. But I think that was way back 2016, 2017 or so. I might not be
Yeah.
correct, but now you see more people in Asaba that are interested in um not just tech but belonging to communities and all of that. So I think it's the people, and so I don't know if I
Okay.
answered it.
Great. Yes, there's no right or wrong answer to it. The answer you gave is your perspective, really, and I quite agree with that. Okay, so for follow-up, Asaba, one of the challenge we had at that time, in fact, when I began Startup Grind Asaba, I think follow-up was the only community that was available at that time. The challenge then was the high cost of hosting events. At the Innovation Hub, we had to pay heavily to host our event there, and then various other things. So I felt like
Yeah.
he couldn't really cope with the, um, and again, I think he wasn't based in Delta State. He was based in Lagos. So I think that
Oh, okay.
was a challenge too. But great perspective as to why the visibility has increased, and then but again, so the next question I would ask is this: in terms of the virtual communities and then the in-person communities, uh, what where do you think what do you think the current situation is, and then how do we get to translate from just from the event, all right, to uh, ensuring that there is implementation outside of the event. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Like implementation, what are you trying to say? Like probably mentorship, jobs, opportunities or something?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, like I would say, I don't know, but for like I'm the community lead for She Code Africa Asaba. So we've never had any physical event or meetup, but we've been actually doing a lot. Like people that we mentor we mentor, people that have testimonies after the mentorship and after the boot camp. And currently, and everything we've been doing has been virtual. Like we've been doing this virtually for like how many years now? So currently now we're actually doing a boot camp, a non-tech boot camp that will train you in content creation, technical writing, and social media management. And we're doing that virtually, and it's going to run for 2 months. So we intend to do like after that we intend to like do a physical meetup where people get to talk about their testimonies, talk about how the community has helped them and all of that. So um I don't know what else to say.
Great approach.
uh
Great approach to community building. Mr. Paul, okay, let me let before I come to you, Mr. Paul, let me let Elizabeth in. All right, Elizabeth, I'd like to hear from you now if you can hear me. Um, Given your work so far, what do you think that the current state of community building is? Can you hear? Okay, so Mr. Paul, I think she's left the call. Mr. Paul, I know you've been in community development and community building, but given the whole of Delta State and given the fact that we have 25 local governments within the state, yet we only hear from places like Warri, Asaba, majorly. What do you think the state of community development is or community building is within the state?
When it comes to community building within the state, it's simple. Um, Delta State, whether I would like it or not, is virgin ground. Delta State is still growing. Delta State is still trying to come up. You know, Delta State is still trying to manage herself to find her feet. So a lot of the things happening with regards to community building when it comes to Delta State is just we're trying to import and push the thing. Let's say this way. We are only blazing the trail. The real thing has not started when it comes to community building. We can't compare ourselves to Lagos because Lagos has been pushing, and so far so well. They've been able to break the bars. They've crossed, in business, you say the person has broken even. Lagos State has been able to break even. Even Abuja is still struggling. Abuja is still Port Harcourt here and they have a bit of gates and this, but they are well ahead of Delta State. Delta State is just coming up. So for community building, all we need to do is to begin to first of all connect with ourselves, because we are too far apart from each other. Ori Asaba. In fact, within Asaba, we are almost getting far from each other, if not for the new wave that's bringing us together, like GDG, the FS, the GWs, the events that are making us now think alike. If not for such things, we're as disconnected as can be. So if we can begin to make this connection become such that even the worry is in sync, worry and Sama begin to see themselves as one, we begin to build together. We discover that it will spread faster. That's my thoughts on the whole process.
I agree with you, sir. I agree with you. And that is the essence of CMX Connect Delta, to bring leaders together at a place so that we can interact, collaborate, and then be able to grow the ecosystem better in that way. I do agree with you. Uche just pointed out some core things in terms of the shift that we've witnessed in the recent past, and we still continue to witness in terms of the people are now becoming more awake, and then there are now more communities, So I'd like to ask, what is missing in terms of? I know you've mentioned the fact that there is we are building in silos and there is between us. But when we compare the efforts here with places like Lagos, what is missing really?
Please, can you come again with that?
Okay, so I said that in terms of the effort we are making already, and then the change that we've witnessed in the recent past, we have witnessed, according to what Uche says, we have witnessed more people, not according to her actually, it's the way it is. We've witnessed more people becoming aware of the communities. We've gained more visibilities for the communities and for the activities within the communities. However, we've not still attained to that point of Lagos and other parts. So I'm asking, what is missing from where we are right now to the vision of where we should be or where we could be? What is missing? Are you there? Yes, I can hear you. There's noise from your background.
It sounds so. Also talking
your background.
These are things we're just discussing. The issue of being like Lagos is simple, but the first question we should be able to ask ourselves is, what are our goals? What do we want? So clearly spelled goals that we now, by the time the first goals are there, we now talk about clearly spelled out actions.
There's a distortion on your mic. I don't know if it's your mic or your phone.
Not putting ourselves first.
It's not
correct. It's such a way we need to best foot forward, not just pushing because everybody wants to be seen. Everybody will be seen, not be when now everybody is going to be seen on the long immediately. I don't even understand. Huh?
Yeah, I agree with
Hello.
you.
Okay. I think
I agree with
I'll
you.
also give I'll
Yes, I
give
can hear
Mr.
you.
to say something to us. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, so
Yes, I
like I was
can.
telling you, I said the basic challenges that communities have is number one, having clearly spelled goals. I'll give you an instance. We have a community that is set to build startups. Having a community of startups is one, but because of individual goals, individual interests, individual competitions, there is nothing the community can do unless the startup decide, okay, our goal is to be able to expand our startup community from 10 to 1,000. Or our goal is to be able to increase investment coming into our locality. Or our goal is to be able to get the government to partner with us as strategic partners to be able to boost one particular thing in the economy. Or we are bringing this. Once those goals are clearly spelled out, they now begin to integrate little activities that will head to that goal. At the end of the day, if you run this in 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year, you should be able to look back and say, okay, this was our goal at the beginning. These were the steps we took towards achieving the goal. And this is where we are in relation to the goal. With that, communities are able to grow and they're able to measure how far they are going, how far they are accomplishing, and at the end of the day, they're able to say, okay, yeah, this one we've achieved, and this one we want to achieve next.
Oh, great insight, great perspective. But that begs the question of um, who leads the coalition? Because again, in terms of goal setting and then getting the vision clear of what the what the ecosystem is projected to become, because again, it's based on the projection that we set all of those goals. I think that it is key for us to have a group of persons or people who spearhead the vision. So, in the context of Delta State, how do you suggest we go about that?
First, when it comes to Delta, the one of the things we need to understand is that in relation to talent for ecosystem development, we have a lot, but it's not saturated. So we have
Yeah.
scattered talent, scattered goals, scattered objectives. So one of the things we need to be able to do is to be able to harness in clusters the database of structured talents. Then we can now be able to know where there's a deficit and where there's a plus. When that is clearly spelled out, we will look at the global agenda as it relates to doing visibility clusters. Let's assume we're facing data, business analytics, and data analytics, and we want to be able to relate it to make Delta State become a hub of harness data with big data and global economy. It's easier to be able to move from there to say, okay, this is what we'll be able to do to these guys, and this is how far they come. With that, there's structure.
Yeah.
Understand? So for Delta, we need first of all to do a with the cluster clearly spelled out, we know where the deficits are. Then from there, we're able to now aggregate everything. Into groups, and for them the delta is the need factor and relating it to high level, but the
Um,
national high
I'm able to hear you clearly, sir.
you're unable to hear me clearly.
Yes, the
Can you hear
last
me?
part. I think you said it. I can hear you now.
No, I said once there's a proper aggregation of all the clusters, it's easy to now be able to tell where there's deficit and where there's surplus. Then from there, we can now be able to disseminate goals for the people that as it relates to the grassroots and how it relates to improving governance. Then from there, there's a clear achievement for every community.
I think what you have stated is um, an amazing strategy. All right, but the question on my mind now is how do we then get the community leaders to support this vision, and then get the members with their community involved in it? Because if we're looking at aggregation of the talents that we have, I think that those talents reside within the various communities that exist. So it is how to then get them to buy into that vision that will be the next question in my mind, actually.
To achieve that is pretty simple. Become a bigger vision. If you become a bigger vision and invite community heads and communities to align with your vision, there's a platform and there's a goal. If, for example, you come up with a big announcement that says, there is a data collection of this towards this factor that will develop the state, do this, and then celebrate it. The people at the lower echelons of all these communities and organizations will want to identify so that they are not left out of the big picture. At the end of the day, that is achieved. The only thing is that you have to prepare your mind and you have to take a personal investment that is bigger than everybody's current activity.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I do feel like, again, that is the essence of CMX Connect Delta, really, to be able to bring us under one body and be able to get us to synergize for the ecosystem development. So great conversation so far, great conversation. Very quickly, I'll leave the floor open for any other contribution before we quickly wrap up the session for today. All right. So the thing is, from this point we are now, what then is the next step? How do we begin to go beyond just the screen and beyond the virtual communities to actually begin to develop this in the real world? For us, what are the next steps?
Okay. Hey, for my end, I think just like Mr. Mega has said, we should be thinking about developing a bigger vision. Once a bigger vision is developed, then they can begin to sell that bigger vision that will bring everybody. That's what I think we should do.
All right, great. Thank you. I think that actually places every other thing in perspective. Really. Uh, okay, so I think Elizabeth is trying to. All right, so I think that to just wrap up our discussion today, we actually looked at the current um, status of community building in Delta State, where we looked at where we have been in the past and where we are currently right now. And of course, there's more visibility. There is more people coming to accept communities or coming to want to belong to communities. But beyond that, there is the need for a bigger vision that can pull the various community leaders together in such a way that brings structure to the activities and to the efforts within the ecosystem development process. So I think that is really a valid thing. And then again, just like Mr. Mika mentioned, that process needs the initial investment. And to be honest, it is people like you and I that are on this call today that the onus lies on to be able to develop the vision and then be able to sell the vision. And it's my earnest desire that as we make progress with our interactions in CS Connect Delta, we're able to get to that point where we can clearly articulate the vision and then be able to promote it and get every community head involved in seeing the vision and then in actualizing the vision. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining the call today. Thank you so much.